So I hope none of you guys have used your Sparks of Ingenuity yet, because you could have actually made a very, very serious mistake in terms of your gearing and setting yourself up on the right path for the next couple weeks. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, when you go through the campaign, you get level 70, you unlock this quest to give you a Spark of Ingenuity. This is a crafting reagent that you can use to basically craft yourself a really good piece of gear. You can do it yourself if you are that profession, or you can hire somebody else to make that gear for you, and you just provide that spark. These are they're a limited reagent. You get one. You got one last week, and then you get another one on this coming Tuesday. So you get one every 2 weeks. That's going to be the kind of cycle for the next little while. I can't remember exactly how many times it goes through that, but then it'll get to a point eventually where you just have way too many, and you're not going to know what to do with them. They're going to come from world quests or events, something like that. But you will get more down the line. So what you do need to understand is that when you use them, there are like good choices to make. There are bad choices, and there's also choices that are kind of okay in the moment, but might be a bit worse down the line. So there are a couple things that I want to tell you first that you shouldn't spend them on. So the first thing that you shouldn't spend them on is any tier slot, or any slot that's going to be occupied by tier, right? So your head, you're going to put a tier piece there, your shoulders, your chest, your legs, and your hands. Those are all the slots that actually provide you tier set bonuses. There are tier set off pieces, but those are the main ones that give you the bonus, right? Now, like I said, some of you may have already spent your sparks. You might have made a chest because you thought, hey, that's the most important piece. That's going to give me the best stats. And yeah, like in the moment, yes. But then once you get your tier piece, that piece of gear that you crafted in your chest is now useless. So just my biggest tip to you is avoid those slots right away. The thing to also realize is that if we're ruling out those slots, it's actually cutting out a few of the crafted pieces that you could make that have certain effects on them. So, where is it? The flaring cowl. That one you're not going to make because, it's in a tier slot, and the effect just isn't really that good. There's also these boots. Boots don't go in a tier slot, but the effect just isn't that great. The other thing to consider is that when you get any of these pieces that have effects like this, like these boots have, nature damage, or these ones have, I guess, more nature damage. What they do is they use up an embellishment slot. We'll talk about embellishments in a second, but it's just, I'm trying to get you guys to realize that like there are some things that you could make now that probably look cool. You might have seen them and thought, hey, that's a free effect, that's extra damage, but it could actually end up screwing you in the end. The other thing you could potentially make are trinkets. And again, these are one of those things where could be an upgrade in the moment, but eventually they're just not best in slot for us. There's better trinkets down the line that you're going to get from raid. So that is inevitably going to be a wasted Spark of Ingenuity if you were to craft a trinket. The weapons, on the other hand, they're a maybe. Crafting a good weapon now is probably pretty good. But there are a lot of ways for you to get like 385 or 382 weapons right now just from rares. And that's more than enough to get you going right now. In a week, actually not even that long, in like four days, we're going to have Mythic Plus. So that's going to allow you to get the Storm Slash weapon, which is decently good for Havoc at the moment. So you could craft a weapon. It would be okay. And a weapon is something you can kind of upgrade along the way. But I wouldn't advise making a weapon right now. That's probably not the best thing to do. The other thing that you shouldn't make right now, in my opinion, are the engineering bracers. They are kind of a neat thing that we can get now. It used to be an engineering only thing where you would get these special effects. In the past, engineers had, battle res things. They had invis. They had all these unique things to engineers. But now engineers can actually socket those things into these bracers and sell them to other people that aren't those professions, and those are called tinkers. So you could get those, And I think if you're going to be doing a lot of Mythic Plus, it's probably a good idea to get those bracers, because they are going to give you, you know, that extra bonus, that extra utility in dungeons. When it comes to raid, there are better bracers just from raid, higher eye level, with a wider spread of stats. But I think either option is good. There's no right or wrong here. My biggest advice though is probably just don't make it right now. There's higher priority things to make. You could consider making the bracers for your third or maybe your fourth craft, your fourth spark. And that's the list of things you shouldn't make. So like I said earlier, if you did end up spending one of your sparks on something you shouldn't have, don't freak out. You're not screwed forever. It's just, like I said, down the line, that's going to be a wasted spark. In the moment, it's probably decent for you. So you're probably asking yourself, what should we craft? And there's a couple things that you could do. If you got your spark last week and you want to make something right away, I don't blame you. It's a new expansion. You want to get your eye level up. You want to flex to your friends. You could make something right now. What I would suggest making is probably an offset leather piece. So that would involve, right, a belt, which I made for myself. Well, I didn't make for myself. I had my friend Vex make it. You could make cloak or boots, but there's a couple of reasons why you shouldn't do those other slots. Cloaks are pretty plentiful in the raid and in Mythic Plus because, you know, they're not armor type specific. They're not like leather cloaks. So there's a lot of options for you to get good cloaks. And the boots, what did I have written down for boots? Let's see. There are a good pair of boots, crit mastery boots that drop from Halls of Valor. So you'll be able to get those from Mythic Plus, possibly an even higher eye level version of them in your vault. So boots probably aren't the best way to go. So like I said, what I did is I got a belt crafted. I have the Lifebound belt here, 389, with crit mastery on it. I used a missive to make sure it was crit mastery. And what I'm planning to do, as soon as I can find a leather worker to do it, is put on an embellishment. So that is, let's talk about embellishments now. So your character gets a total of 2 embellishments. They're basically just special effects on your crafted gear. So you have a total of 2. There are embellishments that you can put on gear yourself when you get them crafted, right? So I'm into the recrafting thing here. These are all the different embellishments. Each higher quality rank of them has a lower recipe difficulty when you add it, meaning it's easier to craft that item, or less difficult, I suppose. So the one you want to go for is the blue silken lining. And this means when you're above 90% health, you gain a chunk of mastery. It's not insane. It's kind of sketchy, honestly, but it's probably the best one for us. Now you might be asking yourself, where does the other embellishment come from? So this is what you guys really need to focus on. There's an item. I'll search it up for you here. Elemental Lariat. It's a neck piece and crafted by jewel crafters, obviously. You can choose what stats go in there. There's naturally 1 socket on it. You can also craft it to have a second socket. Then it has this effect, this embellishment effect. Your spells and abilities have a chance to empower one of your socketed elemental gems, granting 429 of their associated stat for 12 seconds. So if you have a crit gem, you could potentially get an extra 429 crit just from this proc. So this neck is very, very good. I'm pretty sure it's BIS for a lot of classes. Definitely BIS for us, because we're so reliant on crit. So this is going to be your top priority to spend one of your first sparks on, either your first or your second. The only thing with this is it won't be craftable until Tuesday. So Tuesday, when Season 1 opens, there's these new world events happening called Primal Storms, and the bosses in there are what actually have the chance to drop the recipe for this. So you won't find anyone making them right now, but come Tuesday, they're going to be a hot commodity. Everyone's going to be trying to buy them. If you're a jewel crafter, make sure you get out there, get this recipe. And yeah, this is where you should spend your first spark or your second. And again, this is giving you one embellishment, and then you could get the other one, the blue silken lining for your second. And so because you're getting like 1 and 1, that kind of rules out some of the other, I think I might have already said this, but it rules out some of the other set piece ones that you can get, right? So there's the snowball makers. So these have embellishments on them and they're sets. So you need 2 to get the effect, but these effects just really aren't worth it. And they're not better than these 2 individually, the elemental lariat and the blue silken lining. So essentially that's what you want to do. You want to get the elemental lariat, put blue silken lining on whatever else you end up making, and that's it. Then as the weeks go on, like I said, you're going to get more sparks. Then you can start crafting a weapon, maybe a ring or whatever. It becomes less important at that point. Then you're just going to be kind of filling in the gaps of what you didn't get in Mythic Plus, what you didn't get in Raid or in your Vault. So yeah, that's all you need to know in terms of crafting and using your Sparks of Ingenuity. If you guys like this video, give it a like. If you haven't subbed to the channel, please do. I'm trying to get to 20,000 by the end of the year. We have 3/4 of a month left to go. I think we can make it. We're going steady. So yeah, make sure you sub to the channel, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.